Okay, hi folks. Yeah, I'm Todd. Yeah, I've been asked to do two things today. Why are Kiwi so special? Teaching you to suck eggs, but it is why we're here, okay? And then a little bit about how the community, with a lot of help from a lot of people, and Ruramu. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Ngāti Hine, for your precious gift. It's always appreciated and valued, mate. I'm talking about Kiwi. Anybody that talks Kiwi out of the O&E program or transferred has come from Ngāti Hine. So thank you, buddy. We look after them. And then I'm going to explain how that's helped us and along other things. At Whangarei Heads, we've gone from 80 Kiwi to over 1,120 years. It is science. It's not rocket science, but it is science-based. It's practical work on the ground, and crucially, it's about people engagement. Okay, so let's rip into it. Hold on to your ears. You'll be giving me the fingers by the end, I guarantee. Okay. Our special bird. Okay. It's a very special bird because it comes from a very special place. Where? Yeah. The best place, yeah. Last place on the planet that humans came to live. And when humans came here, they found a very, very different place. Okay, bear with me, close your eyes. Close your eyes, come on. Imagine if we were sitting here 2,000 years ago on a nice sunny day. What would be around us? What would be amongst? Birds and trees. It's a land of bird and trees. What wasn't here? Mammals. So there were no rhinoceroses, lions, tigers, rats, cats, people, monkeys. Okay? Few seals down at the harbour and a few bats floating around. Okay? Any big reptiles? Well, crocodile? No. Boa constrictor? No. So there's birds, bloody birds everywhere. Truckload of food on the ground because there's no rats and possums and hedgehogs eating it. Nothing to bite your ass on the ground. So if you're a smart bird, you evolved to do what? Life on the ground. And our mate the Kiwi is superbly evolved for that. Big, this is only a little boy, but he's got big, strong legs that will rip your face off if he gets a chance. Teeny tiny wings because he's given up flying. Only bird in the whole world without a tail. And the feathers, they're pathetic for flying. They're like a pungafrong or something, no good for flying, but very good for keeping him warm, rain off, and even a bit of camouflage. Okay, so very basic, very, very well evolved for life on the ground. If we were to break a Kiwi's leg and have a look inside, what would we see? Marrow. What if we broke a seagull's leg and looked inside? Hollow. Because he's on the ground, it's one of the few birds that has marrow there, doesn't have to worry about weight. This ain't a little boy, if you're a big girl, you can have two functioning ovaries, like human women, and have two great big eggs. Could you do that if you wanted to fly around? No. So highly evolved on the ground, even the body chemistry. Birds are warm-blooded, mammals are warm-blooded, we're warm-blooded, so we burn some of our food so we can work on a shitty day like today, okay? Good thing to do, but it does take a bit of food and a lot of energy. Birds need more energy. Why? Flying. Dead right in. They fly, and in fact, if they're too cold, they get cramp and fall out and die. So that's why they're 40 degrees. What are we? 36, 37. What's our mate, the Kiwi? Yes, they got it from the expert. 30, good and loud, please.
37 to 40 degrees.
Yeah, so they don't waste all that energy. So highly evolved for life on the ground. Now, there was something that did eat these guys though, predated on them. And I haven't bought it today. What was it?
Hasty bird.
Yeah, what? The hasty bird, the haast eagle. So I haven't got one up the front here. I left them at home. Very, very important bird in New Zealand's evolution because he ate these buggers and lots of other things. So what did Kiwi do to avoid him? Nocturnal, sucking eggs, yeah, jeepers. So not only is he highly evolved for life on the ground, he's highly evolved for life in the dark. His eyes are like ours, not that great in the dark, and part of the brain that they're connected to is not so good for that. They have got a bloody good brain, but autistic like me, but Very smart, almost as smart as a parrot, just like me. Now, the sensors they use, the holes in the side of the head are what? Not bullet holes, not ears. They've got very, very good hearing. And they communicate through squeals, whistles, growls, clips. What's a clip in Kiwi language? So if he's clipping at you because you're taking photos with your clippy camera, you're having a fucking argument, okay? So stop it. Okay. So really good. Whiskers. You ever seen a bird with whiskers? No, well, this guy hasn't either. They're feathers that evolved to be like whiskers, but same as a mammal for feeling. But more importantly, at the end here, a couple of little nostrils, incredibly smelly bird in both senses of the word. One of the best birds at smelling things, so they smell each other, shit, smell, like a dog. And the other thing is they stink like a lovely wet puppy. That's maybe the only reason some of us like kiwi. Yeah, so they stink. So highly evolved for life, a very, very special animal. Could talk about it for hours, but I've only got 5 minutes and I've already used 7.
Yeah.
But we changed all that, didn't we? Superb, millions and millions of them, but we stuffed it up. But even when I was a young man, we thought it was still going good out the heads. We still had kiwis squawking around in the 80s and 90s. Cool. We didn't know they lived for 50 years and that their chicks were doing not so good. So it took science, it took Doc, creating sanctuaries, and one out of Ngāti Hine at the Lovels and McGraths there, worked really hard following kiwi chicks around, and what did they find? They're dead. Nearly all of them. 95%. What was killing them, folks? Nope. Stoats. And it seems bloody obvious now, but 20 or 30 years ago we thought there wasn't a problem because we didn't see it. Seeing is believing, folks. So if you want these guys, what do you got to do to these guys? What? Kill them little lovely animals, yes. Okay. So Doc went one step further. Put some fen traps in. Fantastic traps, fen traps, trap stoats. And instead of 5% of chicks surviving, 60% of chicks were surviving. Fantastic, eh? Ooh, problem solved. So places like the Whangarei Heads in the late 90s, we started trapping to protect these little fellas. Okay, and it's come through more and more and more, okay? So all the land care groups got together, formed a thing called the Whangarei Heads Land Care Forum, and got a ginga trapper in, did some trapping. Oh, it's all going good. So good, in fact, we got permission to bring some extra kiwi in so that we got more numbers, bang for our buck, and more genetics because we didn't want to be banjo players. So, and these Ngāti, so that's where Ngāti Hine came in, stopped us being banjo players. Remembering these birds would have walked in the past if we hadn't built a city in the middle anyway. So we were just the leg. So what we did was we monitored the dads with a transmitter. Dad sits on an egg, boom, pops out a chick. We could have taken it off the Whangarei Heads, stand a pretty good chance of survival. But to be extra safe, we took it to Matakawi Limestone Island, creche, and let it grow up. Let it go, put a little chip in it, let it grow up. Ran around at night, caught them later when they were like 1,200 grams so they can fight off a stoat. Okay? Then we released them. The beauty of them being bigger now is that we can show them to people. We never used to, but now we can. Little chick doesn't like it, but these big fellas, if you're really good with them, they can. So we let them go. We thought it was going to be all good. We learnt 3 interesting things. First of all, these little buggers walked all over the place, tens of kilometres, well, all everywhere. Secondly, they walked to not just the bush, our beautiful bush, which wasn't that beautiful back then. We've done a lot of work on it in the last couple of decades. Farmland, heaps on the farmland, heaps in the pine forest, absolutely love pine forests. And their all-time favourite, pampas. I hate pampas, but I love it. It's a love-hate relationship for me. So that was cool. And the third interesting thing we found out was they were dying, these gifts. They were big enough to fight off a stoat. We'd got stoats down, but they were dying. What was it, folks? What was it? Yeah. It seems really obvious now. And remember our bird that used to, smells like a little puppy? Has it got big, strong chest muscles? get your buddy beside you and give him a nice little, just gentle squeeze on the shoulder, not any other part of the body, please. You ratbags. I've done that before and had my ass pinched, so I'm very careful now. Now, that's all it takes. So it's a showstopper. Doesn't matter how many stoats you get rid of. If the adults are killing the adults are being killed by dogs, you're fucked. Okay? So, yeah. So, uncontrolled dogs, it's not a dog problem, it's a people problem, isn't it? So we changed our name from Whangarei Heads Land Care Form Kiwi Recovery Project to Backyard Kiwi. And we went global in a local sense. Got an artist, Heather Hunt, beautiful signs, website, the Scratchy Kiwi, bumper stickers, videos. If you're ever bored, have a click on the Backyard Kiwi website and have a look at the videos. Okay, to get to people, we did public releases when we put these Kiwi out there now, involve people so they get to see their Kiwi and Kiwis believing. Okay, and why is it so important? Because a Kiwi lives 50 years or breeds for 50 years, has a couple of 3 chicks a year, if they nest in Pampas, 150 chicks. What's the average life expectancy in Northland where there's dogs running around? 13 or something. So do the maths. Okay, so these fellas, we are not dog haters. I love dogs. I love my precious little Lizzie. She's a Kiwi killer. She went and got Kiwi aversion training and from her previous owners and went and crunched Kiwi. Oh, Todd, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, no, bring home. She's my little precious at home. But we use a bit of technology that is superb. What bit of technology do we use on our dogs? What's this? It's called a lead. So we do this now with our dogs. We put them on a lead, and I love it in the morning when I'm driving out to work to do things, and I get wave after wave. You people out the Whangarei Heads from who? People walking their dogs. It's not dogs that are the problem, it's uncontrolled dogs. Okay? And, you know, we've gone global in a local sense, you know, big banners and shit. Oh, yeah. So if you come to the Heads and bring your dog, put it on a lead. Okay? Simple? Rightio. That's it. That's all I wanted. Now, one last bit of the puzzle. Have I got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you control your dogs, your adults live. And if that's all you do, your Kiwi will survive and gradually edge forward. If you control your dogs and your stoats, boom, fuck, boom, boom, boom. Apologies for the graph. This is an artist, not a scientist. It would have failed third form science. And I cringe, but it is the guts of it. Can you see the guts of it? Yeah. So it has worked at the Whangarei Heads. We've gone from 80 to 1,030, but we do it with stoat control because luckily Hugh Robinson and the Kiwi Sanctuary and Doc carried on their study. Remember, only 5% of chicks survive with no trapping? How many survive with good quality trapping in the first year? 60. Good listening, 60. Then the next year, 50, 40. 3 years later, you're back to 5 or 0. So you are wasting your time even with quality trapping. So what we did at the Whangarei Heads, they did a study once again and we based it on science. We do a pulse of a toxin that kills stoats. We call it Kiwi Saver and we do a controlled pulse every couple of years and we rotate around and try to get all the areas that have been trapped for ages. And we do it in bait stations, we do it on the ground, gets into the rats, stoats eat it, bang, stuffed, 100%. It is fantastic toxin. Kiwi Saver, where does it come from? Australia. Australia tree leaves. Why would Australian tree leaves have a toxin in them to stop mammals eating them? Because they had mammals eating them. And all the trees would be dead and all the mammals would die. That's a cock up, isn't it? So they co-evolved to have that toxin in their leaves so that the possums can eat a bit but not enough to kill them. But a scientist came along and said, geez, what if I concentrate it? What will happen? You've got yourself a fantastic mammal poison. And even better from our point of view, stoats and uncontrolled dogs are hugely, and I presume seals, because they're related to, are hugely sensitive to it. So you sprinkle a bit of this stuff around sensibly and you will clean your stoats out. Borderfican's another one that does it, but it's a bit, you've got to be very, very careful with borderfican. Only pulse it, can't keep putting it in, you'll kill everything. So what What's that? Oh, we call it Kiwi Saver. What do some other people call it? 1080, because it was the 1080 on the list. What a dumb name. So, in summary, can I summarise now? Am I okay?
Yes.
Told you, give me the finger. If you start with one thing, quality trapping, that's cool. But is it enough to get rid of all the stoats? You need controlled pulse secondary poisoning. Then you get victory over stoats. If you want victory over stoats, you must have secondary poisoning every 2 or 3 years. You're wasting your time otherwise. So that's what we do at the Whangarei Heads. But even if you killed every single stoat at the Whangarei Heads, would these precious animals be safe? What's the biggest danger to them? Dogs. So if you tie your dogs up, then you get this. What's that look like? Kiwi footprint. You'll get lots and lots of those. But it doesn't just happen like that. So I want you guys to do that. Go through the fingers. One finger. Give me one finger. Come on. That's your trapping. Second finger. Stoats. Victory. Third finger. Dog control. Lots of Kiwi print. Keep them up. It is science, not rocket science. It hangs on community engagement. So give me another finger. Bring it across here. You must have community engagement. Your people must want to look after their Kiwi, tie their dogs up, support, and you must monitor it to see if it works. And I could talk for ages. So now, Kiwi Scouts, that's the 5 fingers of Backyard Kiwi. Thank you. So do we want the microphone for questions or people just yell out?
Have a go with yelling out, I can take a microphone down. Questions for Todd?
How do you get to your 1130?
Okay, I can talk all day about monitoring, and if you go down at the end there, you'll talk to Wendy. Can I pull this out for a second? What we do is the same as everybody else for Kiwi listing, except we use a directional sheet. Whiteboard marker, not that vivid. So we use a directional sheet. You're sitting here. You hear a Kiwi out here, cross. What time? 6:15. Happy with that? You hear same Kiwi call here. How many Kiwi you got at the moment? You hear the same Kiwi call at 6:20. Well, it looks like it. 2 calls. How many Kiwi you got? 1. How many Kiwi in that area? 4. We listen to the males mainly because the girls are hard to hear and they call us often. So we work out how many Kiwi are at each of our 20 sites. Exactly. Okay? So we count and let's say we get 200 male Kiwi. Happy with that? If there's 200 male Kiwi, how many female Kiwi are there, Kiwi scientists? What's the sex ratio? 1 to 1, and females probably survive better because they're bigger. You're going to have at least 400 adult Kiwi there in your listing area. Happy with that? We listen into 40% of our 20 stations listen to 40% of our habitat. So we take that 400, multiply it by 2.5 to get our 40%, and what do we get from maths any good? Very simple system. Our Kiwi listeners are old and deaf, so we probably underestimate, and we're very conservative. Every time we put Kiwi listening devices out, they hear more Kiwi than our listeners do, which is one of the few groups in Northland and New Zealand. And even so, this graph, even if we've cocked it up, we cock it up the same way every year. So is the trend going to be important? Yeah. So that's how we do it. And it works to tell people a number. People are far more interested whether they've got 1,000 Kiwi or their call count's 11.32 per hour. Does that make sense, John? So it's the same data, just recorded differently, and you can do it on the Kiwi app now. There's a couple of pictures of it down there of the old-fashioned way to do it if you want to have a look at lunchtime. Okay, other questions?
I think that's it for now, Todd.
Okay, oh.
But Todd's hanging around all day.
Yep.
And you can ask more questions. Todd, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
I wanna be-
Cheers. Who's next?